Imagine you're a guest on Family Feud, and Steve Harvey asks you the following question. We surveyed 100 people. The top answers are on the board. If you were to ask a child born in the 80s to name a toy store, what do you think they'd say? The number one answer would inevitably be Toys R Us. At its peak, Toys R Us operated over 800 stores in the US and over 1,600 worldwide. It seemed as if Toys R Us had established itself as one of the premier toy retailers, and they were so popular that they would be around forever. However, that is not the case. This once dominant retailer went bankrupt in 2017 and has all but died since then. According to some, the demise of Toys R Us actually represents the demise of the toy industry itself, and Toys R Us is partly to blame. This is the story of Toys R Us, how it all began, how it found itself into trouble, and ultimately how it died, taking many other toy manufacturers with it. Chapter 1: The Birth of a Toy Empire. The story of Toys R Us goes back to 1948, when a 25-year-old man, Charles Lazarus, had just returned from World War II. He had served as a cryptographer in the US Army. Upon his return to Washington, D.C., he got married and was gearing up to start a family. This is when he realized that many of his fellow servicemen who had returned from the World War II were going through a similar phase. Though war veterans had returned home, they were starting families, and a baby boom was anticipated in the next few years. Realizing that there was going to be a huge demand for products related to kids, Charles Lazarus started a furniture store by the name of Children's Bargain Town. He primarily focused on selling baby cribs and strollers. However, after a few years of being in business, he realized that although furniture business was great, there was another product category that was even better for business. It was the toys. Charles had noticed that parents would usually come to buy strollers, cribs, and other baby furniture items just once. However, those parents who were repeat customers were there to purchase toys. Anticipating the upcoming baby boom, Charles decided to open a toys-only store in 1957. He named the store Toys R Us. He put the word toys in the name so that the name was obvious enough for the customers to know what it was about. As for the words R and Us, they basically represent the last three letters of the owner's last name, Lazarus. After finalizing the name and the logo, Charles, being a clever entrepreneur, reversed the letter R to make it look like it was written by a small child. Toys R Us was a huge hit. Charles quickly opened a number of new stores. After realizing he was sitting on a gold mine, in 1966, he sold the business to Interstate Sales and became the head of its toy division. He kept overseeing the Toys R Us stores. In 1969, Toys R Us adopted Jeffrey the Giraffe as its brand mascot. It was a massive hit. Kids across the US fell in love with it. Although the sales were great, it wasn't all smooth sailing for Toys R Us. In 1974, Interstate filed for bankruptcy and Lazarus was put in charge of the restructuring of the business. He revived the business by selling the unprofitable divisions. In 1978, Toys R Us went public. This was the start of a phase of rapid expansion. Other than opening hundreds of new stores, they also opened a clothing store named Kids R Us and a baby product store named Babies R Us. Although in 1998, Toys R Us was overtaken by Walmart as the top toy seller in the US, still the company was doing pretty well. In 2001, Toys R Us opened the world's largest toy store in Manhattan. It was a heaven for kids. The mega store had various attractions, including a 3-story Ferris wheel and a 20-foot-high animatronic T-Rex. A few years later, the Toys R Us purchased probably the most important domain names in the toy category, etoys.com and toys.com. It appeared that Toys R Us had positioned itself very well for the upcoming age of online shopping. It also purchased toy retailers KB Toys and FAO Schwarz. It seemed as if Toys R Us was unstoppable, but fast forward to today, and Toys R Us is pretty much dead. The company filed for bankruptcy in 2017, and now it seems that there is no way back for this mega entity that once ruled the hearts of the kids across the globe. So, what exactly went wrong? Chapter 2: Betting on Debt. As you would expect, there were a number of factors that led to the demise of Toys R Us, including the rise of Amazon, tough competition from Walmart and other retailers, and the rise of the gaming industry. However, as is the case with most of the companies that fail, it was the decisions made by Toys R Us that were to blame the most for its downfall. In 2006, Toys R Us was bought by Bain Capital, Kohlberg Kravis Roberts, and Vornado Realty Trust in a leveraged buyout deal. They paid $6.6 billion for the company. Most of this amount was paid by taking loans through banks. The investors had thought that they would boost sales and the position of the company for a stock offering in a few years, but this never happened. The sales of the company never grew at a pace that they had expected. The IPO market stalled and Toys R Us withdrew its IPO registration. Finally, declining sales, high store rents, employee wages, and other salaries led to the company being unable to pay its huge debt that it had accumulated during the leveraged buyout. In 2018, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy, and this pretty much marked the end of the golden era of the toy industry. Was Toys R Us to blame? Chapter 3: The Aftermath. At the time of filing for bankruptcy, Toys R Us had said that its 1,600 Toys R Us and Babies R Us locations would operate as usual and that it would work with investors to address its debt of about $5 billion. However, this never happened. According to Howard Davidowitz, a retail consultant who worked with Toys R Us in the 1980s and 1990s, when a company is cursed with such massive debt, there's no way for it to grow or invest or compete anymore. Toys R Us had more than 100,000 creditors, the largest of which were Bank of New York, Mattel, and Hasbro. In March of 2018, Toys R Us told employees that it was liquidating and closing or selling all of its US stores. While the large creditors were able to survive, many of the small creditors that heavily relied on Toys R Us for their sales went bankrupt. Hundreds of toy manufacturers had to close their businesses as there was no longer a demand for their toys anymore. Many industry analysts consider the demise of Toys R Us as a demise of the toy industry in general. Maybe, even without all the debt, Toys R Us would have still failed. I mean, if you look around, how many kids do you see spending their days playing with toys? Most of the kids are occupied by games like Roblox, Fortnite, and GTA. Maybe the only way to survive for Toys R Us was innovating and stepping into the world of video games and consoles. Unfortunately, it never happened, and the favorite store of millions of kids across the US is now just a piece of history. What are your thoughts on the demise of Toys R Us? Let us know in the comment section below. Now, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button and be sure to press the bell icon as well. Be sure to check back in on Mondays because we'll be dropping another interesting business story every week right here on Mogul Monday.